Yeah, I'm gonna lift my way in the strength classroom, work my way to my gains real soon. I'm gonna lift in the strength classroom, building strength to touch the moon. Barbell in my hands, plate stacked up real grand, squatting to the floor, glutes and quads demand. Deadlifts got me fried, benches I won't hide, dumbbells to the side, yeah, we're taking this worldwide. Can't nobody stop my lifts. Strength classroom is my gift. Can't nobody stop my lift. This is retarded. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Strength Classroom. Today, I'm showing you a dynamic effort lower body movement. Just get a little bit of athleticism before we start off. I got these from Phil Daru. Great resource, great guy, great knowledge on just training. He specializes in combat athletes. He was one himself. He does strongman, he does powerlifting, whatever. So I did some, it's like a drop jump, and then I do like a lateral jump. And this is how I find my distance for the day when I do broad jumps. As you could see, that first jump was very close, as was that one. So this is a way of warming up. As you can see, I'm just going to kick my bench back a couple inches. There you go. And then until I find something that's not where I have to give 500% or else I'm not going to get it, but something where I have to give enough effort or else I'm not going to make the distance. That can be true with box jumps as well. Everyone thinks you have to max out on box jumps. After a while, it's just how far you can flex your hip. There, and this is a perfect distance. I don't think I move it anymore. Maybe I move it like an inch max. Let's see what I do. Let's see. No. So that's my distance for the day. And you just keep track of that. But I'm not trying to become the biggest broad jumper. Ooh, that was a weird jump there. It's about 7 to 8 feet away from the maybe 6.5, 7.5 feet. It doesn't matter. It's just something that I have to put all my effort into. And that's the key component, friends. That is the key component. You want to find something where you have to give just enough effort that you can't sandbag it. This is what I was talking with the hurdle jumps. Exercises like this, you will be given instant feedback if you put enough force. Instant. Whereas you don't have to look back at the camera and say, ooh, did the bar move fast enough? No, you don't need that, brother. You just need to know, hey, did I land on the platform? Did I land on the box? Did I get over the hurdle? Simple as that. So here's my main exercise. I just added a couple more pounds than last week. So my last warm-up, snatch grip deficits off a platform, otherwise known as snatch grip deficit deadlifts. It gives you a little quad pop off the floor. Your upper back is toast. Your posterior chain is toast. It is a great exercise. And as I always say, when I do my jumps and stuff, I like to lower the volume of the jumps as I get closer to the actual work sets of my strength work. This has never really failed me. One does not end up fatiguing the other. And I think it's just a good method. You should try and implement that yourself into your own training. Because power potentiates strength, not the other way around. And like it just said there, it primes your CNS, which is what is ultimately going to allow you to get more strength in the long run. And it's the user to lose it principle. If you're not using these fast twitch type 2 muscle fibers, you're going to lose the ability to do so, and not completely use them, but you're going to have to put in so much work to develop them again that you might not have the work capacity to do so. It is like you're literally losing your ability to explode. It's why athletes can't play at the same level forever. So here are my actual work sets. You have snatch grip deficit deadlifts, 94 pounds of chain. So there's 295 on the bar. Let's just call it 300 for simple math. That's 394. So it's 389 at the top. Now, this is a crazy posterior chain more specifically upper back builder. I did 8 sets of 3 total with fairly low rest periods. But yeah, it's a crazy posterior chain builder. If you have a weak posterior chain, I'm not going to say forget about Romanian deadlifts, but Romanian deadlifts are good for your posterior chain. But if you have an upper back weakness, try snatch grip variations like this. They'll smoke them. Smoke them. So you just rest for a little bit, take a little peek out of the stopwatch out of the corner of my eye. Make sure I'm not resting too long. And bada boom, go from there. You almost have to use straps for snatch grip stuff. If you're not, you're making your grip become the limiting factor, which is cool because if you're doing it later in the workout. But if you're not, if it's your main workout, sorry, your main exercise of the day, why would you want to let straps hold you back? And remember, if you are doing snatch grip variations and you want to attach chains, make sure they go inside your hands. I learned that lesson last week, that they will just eventually roll under the Olympic weights and kind of screw up your whole set. Don't let that happen to you. Like it happened to me, it kind of screws up the momentum of your whole workout. Don't let that happen to you guys. It gets really hard to lock out after a while, just because if you've never used bands or chains, you won't understand why the lockout kind of catches up to you. You'd have to see it for yourself. Now, Hatfield lunges. Great lower body movement. I find it takes away some stability. Sorry, it increases stability. It takes away the stability demands. That's what I was trying to say the first time. And allows you to really just focus on your legs. But it puts a lot more weight on your body, stresses the spine, as most single leg movements don't. So I did 2 sets of 10 each side. You could even do this variation with split squats. That's also a great variation. I don't prefer one or the other. They're basically the same thing. One is the lunge variation of the Hatfield and one is the split squat variation of the Hatfield, right? It's apples and oranges, apples to apples. Green apples to red apples. But this is a great exercise, especially if you feel like you can handle a lot more weight and don't necessarily want to or need to work on stability at the moment. Not that I don't need to, I want to go heavy on one leg. And sometimes it's as simple as that. And last, just to finish off the workout, because this was a quick one, hip openers. I got my heaviest band, loop them around my legs, gave me rashes, ripped off body hair. It was a wild experience. But it's just basically the bad girl position. I know that machine at the gym is called good girl, bad girl. I'm basically just opening my hips. Simple as that. And I try and do a little pause at the end because it is not machine based. So I am not getting much resistance at the beginning of the movement. So I make up for it by pausing at the end. And that's a good angle of my crotch if you want to check out what my balls look like. But that's all there is, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe, do all the good stuff. If you have a question for me, drop them in the comments. And as always, have yourself a great day.